knowledge to the public so we can heal a little bit more gently?
Well, for the last 100 years, medicine in this country has been dominated by drugs, primarily, and surgery, secondarily. And when the FDA finally allowed the pharmacomafia to advertise on television, I think that threw us about 30 years ago into an even worse state than ever. The average physician doesn't understand most drugs, let alone the average layperson being told about it on television. I think that was one of the great mistakes. Actually, the biggest mistake was getting the government into medicine at all. Back in 1963, I wrote to President Johnson when they were beginning the debate on Medicare, and I said, look, you are about to bankrupt the country. The government has never been able to do anything that is financially sound. I was on the faculty at Western Reserve Medical School. 1 week later, I got a phone call from the chairman of surgery. He said, Norm, what the hell did you write to President Johnson? I've been on the phone with the FBI all day. They want me to fire you. They spent a week trying to get me fired because I was a communist. Medical expenses in 1965, when it finally was passed, were 4.5% of gross national product. By 1970, they were 12%. I suspect that in 2015, they'll be 20% or more. And we're not as healthy now as we were in 1965. And largely that is because of government nonsense. So the average physician has been brainwashed since going to medical school that the cure is drugs or sometimes surgery. That's it. When I started in 1978, the American Holistic Medical Association, I went to a number of medical schools by invitation to speak to medical students. About 1/3 of the freshmen were interested in holistic medicine. By the time they graduate, it's down to 10%. By the time they finish their residency, it's down to 1%. Interestingly, the American Holistic Medical Association, which was founded in 1978, this very year, came to the conclusion that holistic is never going to be accepted by the establishment. Now, I can't say for the public what I'd like to say about the establishment, but basically the establishment is the problem, is not the solution. So they got rid of the word holistic even in the organization. They became an academy of alternative, integrative medicine. Well, integrative medicine, in my opinion, could be a good concept, but it's been ruined already by the establishment. Hospitals, they went from, holistic to complementary, alternative, integrative bullshit. What else can I say?
Say it, Norm.
And the hospitals have ruined it by offering one or two little things and calling it integrative medicine. Therefore, next month, with 3 other physician friends of mine, we are starting the National Institute of Holistic Medicine.
Yay, that's wonderful. Where? Here?
Right here in Springfield, Maryland, with a internationally known cardiologist, an internationally known migraine specialist, and his assistant physician or associate physician, and I'm actually going to...
You're going to be on staff.
Start again with pain and depression.
Yay, so people can come here. You're going to have to fly out here, folks. It's one of the few places where they can be treated
comprehensively.
Comprehensively.
Let me tell you about cardiology.
We're not throwing out Western medicine.
Of course not. For acute illnesses, I would say, get conventional medicine. It can save your life. But once it becomes chronic, and chronic, depending on what the illness is, to me, is something that's not cured within 1 to 6 months. If it's not cured by the conventional situation, it ain't gonna be, and it's likely to be any worse, in my opinion. One of the reasons that I went out on a twig originally was in neurosurgery. For chronic pain, we had two big treatments. To cut the spinal cord, the front half of it, barbarian, to say the least, or to destroy the frontal lobes of the personality. Didn't get rid of the pain, but it got rid of their complaint. And that's why I started looking for alternatives to chronic pain. And of course, what I learned early is that 100% of the people were depressed. Many of them before they developed chronic pain, but certainly by the time you've had 5 or 6 unsuccessful operations and crumbing drugs, anybody will become depressed.
But you also say depression is synonymous usually with pain. Like, what comes first? Or
well, many people were, let us say, not necessarily clinically depressed, but what I call subclinically depressed, and then something happens and they get pain and they don't recover.
right.
They didn't have the inner strength to overcome it. But they're made worse then if they're operated multiple times, or if they put on narcotics and tranquilizers and other junk drugs. So that my work from 1971 until I closed my clinic 11 years ago was for that kind of person.